Today we are evaluating logs. So we need to know what log base 2 of 32 is equal to. So we're going to start by setting this equal with a pencil equal to x. So then we're going to rewrite it just like we did yesterday. So how could I rewrite this? 2 to the x equals 32. So we're going to use our heads and think about 2 to what power is equal to 32? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. How many times gives us 32? 5. So since 2 to the 5th equals 32, our answer would be 5. Because 2 to the 5th power equals 32. Yippee. Okay, so then we're going to do number 2, which is a little bit more fancy, but that's okay. We're fancy. So we, again, start by setting this equal to x. So we will say 3 to the x equals 9 square root of 3. These do not have the same base, so we can't just look at their exponents. It's really hard to figure out 3 to what power is 9 squared root of 3, so we're going to rearrange things a little bit. So we're going to leave this as 3 to the x. We're going to go back to a couple days ago where we tried to make same bases. We can write 9 as 3 squared. We can also write the square root of 3 as 3 to the 1/2 power. If you remember, when we look at fraction exponents, the denominator is our squishy. So if we have a square root, that's the 1/2 power. If we had a cube root, that would be the 1/3 power. So when you have roots, they make fraction exponents. So that might be a note you want to write out to the side is roots make fraction exponents, or fraction exponents make roots. So then we're going to go ahead and add these exponents together so that way we can see what x needs to be. So 3 to the x. If I add 2.5, that would give me 2.5. So we can either say 3 to the 2.5, or we can say 3 to the 5 over 2. Because if you add 2 plus 1/2, that gives you 5/2. So what would x have to equal? If the bases are now the same, x would have to equal 5 over 2, which would be your answer. Okay, so again, to remind us what we did, we rewrote it as 3 to the x equals 9 square root of 3. We changed my 9 to a 3 squared. Because we saw this base over here was a 3, we're going to use that to help us on the right-hand side. We changed this right-hand one to 3 squared, and then the square root of 3 we changed to 3 to the 1/2 power. Add our exponents because they both have a base, and that's going to tell us what x is equal to. The third one we will do is this. It says log base 3 of 1/9 plus log base 16 of 4. Here we have two separate problems occurring, and we're going to add them together. So we're going to do the same thing twice. So we're really going to start off by having 3 to the x equals 1/9 plus 16 to the x equals 4. We've got two separate problems that we're working at the same time. So if we think about 3 to what power equals 1/9, here we have a fraction, so we know it's going to be a negative exponent. So 3 to the negative 2 power is 1/9, because 3 squared is 9, so 3 to the negative 2 is 1 over 9. To that, we're going to add here. Here we have 16 to the x equals 4. We know that 4 is the square root of 16, so 16 to the 1/2 power. Again, so to the 1/2 power because the 1/2 power is the square root, and the square root of 16 is 4. So then we add these together. Negative 2 plus 1/2 is a pencil, negative 1.5. So you can leave your answer like that, or you can say negative 3 over 2. Both are okay with me today.